if anyone does need the link, we did send it out half an hour ago, but otherwise Kate can put it in the chat for you all. But if you can either have that open or print it out, I've got mine printed out here so that I can know what I'm talking about. But I'm also going to share my screen because we're going to be going through some slides together, but we are going to be doing work. It's not just like a me talking at you workshop. Also, just wondered as well, did anybody watch the video on the word of the year? Did you guys have a chance to watch that? Yeah? Suzanne, no, that's okay. You was like, what was that? That's fine. It's in the emails as well, so I can probably put the link to that as well, so you can watch that because that's probably going to be really helpful as well. So let me share my screen and we can get started. Right, let me just make sure I get the right one. Kate will tell me if I've shared the wrong thing. Okay. Awesome. So welcome to Crafting Your 2026 Success. I keep saying 2020 success as well, which is funny. But what we're going to be doing today is my goal is to help you choose the right goal based on what is really going to make the most impact and difference in either your business or your life. So although it's crafting your private practice success, if there's something more pressing in your life that you need to be focused on at the moment, that's totally fine as well. And I'm really going to be describing to you why you need a vision and strategy. And without both of them, it's really hard to stay motivated and achieve your goals. And so that's what we're going to be going through today. And I'm going to be doing a mini planning session. So you've probably already seen the workbook and had a flick through to see what we're going to be doing. But every single quarter in my membership Goal Getters, we do this. So we go through what our current vision is, what we reflect on the past quarter. We look at our time because that changes every single quarter. For me, Q1 is like really head down in work, whereas maybe in Q2 or 3 I'm like more focused on my family because my kids are off school and things like that. So every single quarter things change, and we really need to refocus, realign and redesign our life to fit in with what's going on that quarter. So a lot of people don't do this type of reflection before they choose their goals. And so we never really tie our goal to our bigger vision. And that is the first mistake. If we don't tie our goal and what we want to our greater vision on those days where we feel like not motivated or a little bit hopeless, it's really hard for us to take the action that we need to take in order to get to the goal. Because obviously if we have a goal of growing our private practice, for example, there's going to be actions that we need to do, and that might be writing our Psychology Today profile, it might be reaching out and networking. And on those days where that action just seems really big and heavy, if we don't have this in the back of our head is, why am I growing this private practice? Why do I want to get more clients? It's really easy to just not take that action. So I'm really not telling you all this to be negative. Understanding this gives you a greater advantage because we can mitigate those feelings and plan for them. And that's what I want to help you with today. So for those of you who know me, my name's Kim, and my passion in life is helping people achieve their goals. And that comes in many, many forms. So I started off helping therapists in private practice as a virtual assistant, and I did their admin, and I used to help them with their bookkeeping and invoicing and all the client diary management and things like that. And so being able to free therapists up so that they could work on what they wanted to work on, which most of the time was working with clients. That's where their passion was. That's why you probably got into therapy and private practice, was to work with clients. But many people then end up doing admin and marketing and all the stuff that comes with running a business. I then grew a virtual assistant agency. So I have a team of VAs who work for therapists, and I love doing that as well. And I love helping therapists on a bigger scale with their online setups and things like that. And more recently, I have a membership called Goal Getters, which I'm going to tell you more about later. But we are going to get straight into the workbook. So I did make a whole video, like a YouTube video last year, I believe, on choosing a word of the year and why that is important. And I did send that video out, so hopefully most of you have watched it. But in it, I talk about what this means to me and how I use my word, which is courage for 2026, in 8 key areas of my life. And so what I do then is say, okay, how can I be courageous in my business this year? Or how can I be courageous for my family this year? Now, we don't have time in this workshop to complete all areas of the life, but I'd love you to tell me in the chat what your word is, if you have a word for the year. And then I just want you to spend a couple of minutes just thinking about ways you can feel that word in your life for this year. So you can have inspiring words like action or focus, or you might want your year to feel more spacious and calm. So you'd have words like freedom. So I'm just going to open the chat and just see if anybody has put. So intentional, Kate, thank you. Authentic, Anne. And Tiana, consistency and intentional. Cool. Jenny, yours is also courage. Amazing. And Francesca's brave. Amazing. Cool. I love those words. They're so cool. So in your workbook, just spend a couple of minutes and just think about ways that you can feel that word in your life in 2026. Confidence, Suzanne. Amazing. Cool words. Just give you another minute with that one. If you haven't already as well, I've got my word of the year template, which obviously mine's filled in, but you can also, there's a link to that in the on the video as well. So if you want to like dive into that a little bit more and have a look at all the different 8 key areas of your life that I have suggested, then it's a really worthwhile exercise to do on top of this workshop. Okay. So we are sticking with the vision part of the workshop for now. We're going to start with the vision, then we're going to move on to the strategy. So a lot of you here would be in private practice, and some of you may want to start a private practice. But Tiana, for you, you're starting a virtual assistant business, so you can, adapt to that for, that business. But what I want you to really think about is the why. Why did you start this business, or why do you want to start this business? And I've put them into 2 different camps. We've got professional reasons and personal reasons, and I've put some examples in each category. But I really want you to sit and think about the bigger picture, because when we're going to choose our goals, they're going to tie back to one of these reasons. So for example, one of my goals might be to grow the membership, right? I want to grow the membership. But why do I want to grow the membership? Why why do I want this membership? So why professionally do I want this membership, but also why personally do I want this membership? What does having a membership mean? Well, it means monthly recurring revenue, which means I know how much I'm going to earn each month, and I can grow that with more members and things like that. So that's going to help me, I homeschool my child. It's going to make sure that I can continue to homeschool my child. And so really go deep. Start with one reason. There's a I call it 7 levels deep. I think I've completely stolen that from something, and it's definitely from somewhere else. I just haven't been able to find where it is. But what you do is you say, okay, why do I want something? And then you ask yourself, okay, but why do I want that? And you just keep asking yourself that question, and you just get really, really, really deep into the reason that you want that. So why do you want more clients? Well, if I have more clients, then I can help more people. But why do you want to help more people? So just keep asking yourself that question and list down as many reasons as you can think of as why you want to or why you have started your private practice. How are you getting on with that? When you're not doing it yourself, it's hard to know how long to give people. I can see you're still writing down. Do you need a couple more minutes, or were you good? Good to move on? Thumbs up? Yeah, cool. Okay, awesome. So the next section is doing a brainstorm of what success would look like for us. And this is going to be different for each person. Some may see success as earning a certain figure each month or getting to a certain level of income, but some may see success as being able to take their kids to school and pick them up each day. Neither is better or worse, but it's what is important to you, and it's good to know that, right? Because if we are driven by, I want to be around for the kids and I want to be able to pick them up, or I want to be able to help my elderly parents, whatever it is for you, then actually growing a private practice to 20 clients a week isn't really going to be good for you, right? Because you're not going to be able to have the spare time to be able to pick your kids up or be able to look after your parents. Whereas if you are currently in this season of life, success would mean, earning a certain amount of money so you can buy a bigger house, or you can, travel, or whatever it is that you want to do. You need to know that, because then that's going to drive what your goals are. A lot of people mismatch their goals with actually what success will look like for them and what their vision is, because they think they should pick this certain goal. They think they should be growing their private practice to a certain level, or they think they should be starting a group practice because that's what they've been told, or starting to work with groups, doing something different. A lot of people think success is continually growing and continually changing what they want to do, but that might not necessarily be what is right for you. So we're just going to do a little brainstorm now. Just want you to write sort of 5 to 10 sentences, whatever comes up for you, of what being successful would feel like. So I'll know I'm successful when. Finish that sentence with as many sentences as you would like. Can also tie it to feelings as well. So I'll know I'm successful when I feel secure, when I feel happy, not just when I have this amount of money or when I work with this type of client. Okay. And in our final part of our vision, of our reflection, we're just going to be doing a life wheel. So many of you might have seen this before, used it with your clients potentially, but this is a special private practice edition. So it's all kind of 9 key areas of kind of private practice. So what I would like you to do is take in the center as 0 and then the outer section as 10. We're just going to rank your level of satisfaction in each area. So you can either write your number in the table below, or if you've printed it off, you can color or draw, and just kind of really just think of the words. So we've got client acquisition, and then just like it's a real feeling and knowing, as opposed to like this is what a 10 would feel like, this is what a 1 would feel like, because sometimes in goal getters people ask that, it's like, well, how do I know if I'm a 5 or a 6 or a 7? It really is just a feeling. So we do a version of this in goal getters every single quarter, and what the therapists love seeing is how things have changed. So maybe if they focused on a certain area, they can see their level of satisfaction going up because they've focused on that with their goals and things like that. Or maybe if they've noticed that one is staying at a certain level for quite a while and it's quite low, for example, so they think, okay, actually I should probably be focused on this. And in goal getters, we don't do this wheel, it's a wheel of more life, because goal getters isn't just focused on private practice, it is really focused on, you know, your whole life and what goals you want to focus on for the quarter in business and in life. So we have a look at, you know, health and fitness and things like that, as opposed to just private practice. But for this particular workshop, and we're looking to pick a goal to create private practice success, we need to have a look at, okay, what is working and what's not working currently. So I've just stopped sharing for a minute because I would love to hear from you if you're willing and happy to share anything. Just love to see if one thing kind of sparked something for you, or if like something has jumped out at you that you might not have thought of before, or just something you want to share. It could even be like ways you're going to show up as confident or brave in your life this year. So if anybody would like to share, otherwise Kate's going to have to. Is anyone happy to share? Kate, you're gonna have to. It's gonna have to be you.
That's fine. So I picked intentional as my word of the year, and I've really been focusing on that kind of in all areas. But with work, it's been that I am putting things in place in advance rather than reacting to things as and when they happen. So I will check the inboxes at the time that I have set aside to check them, rather than flurrying from one inbox to another and then being stressed about what I found and having to deal with that really quickly. It's like at 1 o'clock, I will do this, and that is the time. And then I'm also not worrying about it so much in my brain because I know the time is coming when I will deal with that thing. And I think that's probably really useful for anyone that's doing admin, is to have knowing that this is the time that I will deal with my bookkeeping, or this is the time that I will look at my inquiries, and that's when I'll do it, rather than it being a thing that's always in the back of your mind.
Yeah, totally. And jumping around. And that's exactly what we're going to do next as well. We're going to be doing our time blocking and talking about an ideal week and moving kind of to the strategy. But yeah, no, that's great. I love that. So the ways I've put that I'm going to show up with courage is being visible and putting myself out of my comfort zone in a variety of ways. So that's just like by doing these launches, or by being on Instagram and making reels, or going live, or posting in stories, but also just in other ways of being visible, like with the community that I've built and things like that. The other one is only working on projects that I want to be part of. So rather than saying yes to everything just because I should, or because there's money on the table, it's like, no, that's not actually where my skills lie, or it's not really what gives me passion or lights me up. So being courageous enough to say no and just working on the projects. And then it's also embracing my new identity, role, and audience as I move into working with virtual assistants and helping them learn how to basically be me, but like work with therapists in private practice. It's like embracing that new role and the new audience that I want to build, starting from scratch again, and being courageous in that and being like, no, that's the direction my business needs to go in. So that's kind of like some things that I've kind of picked. So is anyone feeling a bit braver to say anything that's come up for them? Or we can move on, it's fine. Won't.
Yeah, I can share one small thing. I really love the feeling part of the like, how will you know that you've achieved the success? And then I was thinking, and I came to this like, I want to feel when I'm successful, I know because I'm gonna feel like it's always summer inside of me. And it was such a good feeling. And I can totally see why we do that because like, when I'm like, okay, why am I doing this again? Oh, because I want to feel that feeling because it's such a beautiful feeling. I mean, it's just one small part, but I just want to share because I was surprised by it.
Yeah, I love that. I love it when we get surprised by things. Sometimes we
Mhm.
can do a specific reflection piece, and we do that like every month, every quarter in Goal Getters, we reflect on the past quarter. And some of the things that come up are really surprising to people. And I think that that is what really makes it and makes our goal setting more successful, is when we're like, oh, actually, this is what I'm working towards, or this is the way I want to feel. And if you don't know that and you don't take the time to reflect on that, then you're never going to know if you're successful, right? Because if you don't know that you're wanting that feeling, then success is never going to feel like success for you. It doesn't matter if you have all the money in the world. If it doesn't give you that feeling, then that's not what success feels like to you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Tiana.
yeah, makes sense.
Awesome. Okay. So, what we're going to do now is we are going to move on to the strategy kind of side. And for that, it really is knowing where we're spending our time. So, I'm just going to share my screen again. Okay, so we're going to move to our weekly plan. We're going to spend a bit of time on this because it's so important. In Goal Getters, like I said, we time block every single quarter. Now, sometimes it's not going to change a huge amount. It's not like our whole life has to be flipped upside down. And sometimes it does. Sometimes we have more holidays, or the kids are off school, or, whatever it is, maybe we've taken on 5 new clients. So that's, we're going to have to change how much we are working face to face with clients as opposed to working on our goals. So it does change all the time. So it really is important that we do this. So we're going to do this in stages. Okay. So the first thing, and you've got your block here. So you can do it on here first, just write it on there. But I would really then encourage you to spend some time and put this like on an online calendar, like a Google calendar or things like that. Because if we just have it on paper, it's really hard to stick to it. That's what I found personally. It's just maybe other people can do it. But for me, if I can't visually have it on my calendar, then it's not happening. I will forget about whatever it is that I've said I'm going to do. So the first thing we're going to plan in is our non-negotiables, our must-dos. So this is usually things that are about other people. So for me, my must-dos would include things like taking the kids to school, picking them up, anything to do with the kids, things like that. They could also be anything you've committed to, like a fitness class. So I go pole dancing now every Thursday night. So that's on the calendar. It's a must do for me. I've paid for something, I'm committed to it. It could also be, I'm trying to think of other things that would fit into this, but basically anything that has to go on the calendar first because you have to do it, regardless of anything else that happens in your life.
Don't you also schedule in lunch? Like, this is the time where I will sit down and eat, so you know that that's.
I do. Everything is scheduled. My whole life. So yeah, eating is a big one. Although today I haven't yet, which is probably why I'm a little bit more skitty because I haven't actually eaten anything. So 2 o'clock is when I'm eating today, but usually it's 12:30. So yes. So if you can even take a look at your calendar, see what's on there, see what is a must do. I've put it in hour blocks. Some, again, you can split this down further into like half an hour blocks and things like that, but just so it would fit on the page. And obviously we're just doing like a loose one for now, but this is definitely an exercise I would encourage you to do properly when you have a little bit more time. Can also put any training you've committed to in here, or like if you have supervision sessions, things like that, your own therapy, like whatever it is that you've committed to can go into this section. Okay, so the next section is going to probably be the biggest one, and this is your core work. So this is the work you're paid to do. So for most of you, that's going to be seeing your one-to-one therapy clients. If you don't have any clients yet, you haven't started your private practice, then you can just mark in when you would like to see them. So let's say you've got 5 clients now, but you actually want to have 12, like mark the times of the sessions that you would like to have. So whether that's, you know, all of Tuesday morning or the whole of Thursday, whatever it is, mark down what you would like it to be. You can color code it with like, these are sessions that are current and these are the ones that I would like to have. But this is going to be the core work. So other people, so for like Kate and Tiana, then it would be like, I work between these hours or in these blocks. That's when I'm going to work for clients. So it's the work that you're actually paid to do. So not your admin, not your bookkeeping, not things like that at the moment. We're just talking about one-to-one therapy or work that you're paid to do. If anyone has any questions, please just unmute and ask. Don't be shy. Or put it in the chat and Kate can answer for you. So the next blocks that we're going to put in, they're called buffer blocks. So these are where we're going to create some time for our admin. So whether that's inbox management, returning phone calls for inquiries, invoicing, doing your bookkeeping, things like that. We really want to schedule in blocks of time to do that. So Kate was talking about that previously with her intention of like scheduling in the time and not looking at inboxes between the other times, right? So a lot of you might see a client and then quickly check your inbox and then do something else and then quickly check your inbox. And actually, this is the worst thing you can do for productivity and the best thing you can do for procrastination. If you have some time when you are supposed to be doing something else, when you just keep checking your inbox, if you keep having it open on your screen and you keep clicking on it and seeing like, oh, the numbers are going up, I can see I've got emails and things like that, it can really distract you from what you actually need to do. So if you can schedule in some time, so in the book The 12-Week Year, that suggests having like 2 30-minute blocks. I don't necessarily think that that personally works for me. So what I like to do is I check it in the morning, I check it last thing at night, and then I'll check it once either before or after lunch, depending on like the day, because of what other things I've got going on. So it really is up to you how much you kind of schedule in and when you schedule it in. But you really want to have blocks for this so that you know exactly when you're going to be doing your admin. So if you do, you are actively looking for clients and you are going to be getting client inquiries and things like that, you're going to get back to them. Like, you'll see those inquiries within a few hours because you're checking your inbox multiple times, but it's just you're not checking your inbox all the time. You're not reading an email between seeing clients and thinking, I don't have time to deal with this now, and then it's left unread and you forget about it, things like that. So what you really want to do is try and plan in these buffer blocks so that you can have this time dedicated to your admin. Scheduling once a week to do your invoicing or once a month to do your bookkeeping. We're doing a weekly planner at the moment, but so you can just have an hour at some point to do your bookkeeping or something like that. But you really want to schedule in this time. Okay, so far we have planned our must-dos. We know where we need to be and when we need to be there. We have planned our core work, so what we're getting paid for, and we have planned our admin. What you're probably thinking is that it's looking pretty full, right? You've probably not got a ton of extra time outside of those things, and we haven't even started planning in the time where we're actually going to work on our goals. So if we have a goal of growing a private practice, but we've already got, a lot of hours filled in, when are we actually going to be able to take action on those goals? If we want to create a website, for example, when are you going to do that? So that would be next of what you are going to plan in. Now, in the book, it says that it is a good idea to plan at least one 3-hour strategic block in one lump sum, right? So on a Friday afternoon, you will do your needle moving work. Not everybody's brain works like that. Not everybody can sit for 3 hours and work on a specific task. Some people need to do more sprints, so they know they've got an hour to work on something. You know, that's why they say that like mums of like kids who have naps are like the most productive people in the world, because the things that they can get done in a 45-minute kid nap is like, not kidnap, that's, you know what I mean, baby nap, whatever, is like mental, right? What we can get done whilst the baby's sleeping. So some people work better like that, and actually if they know they've just got an hour to work on something, they can focus really quickly. But some people, it takes them a little while to get into what it is they're doing. They need to remind themselves what they were working on and where they are. So you really need to understand yourself well when it comes to being really successful at goals, and knowing that, okay, I work better if I've got a whole afternoon or if I've got a morning. Some people work well like night owls and they work at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's just what I used to do. Can't do that so much anymore. But you know, so understanding yourself is key here. But the next thing you want to do is like, when am I actually going to be working on my goals? So what time do you have left, and schedule that in next. And then the final block, if you have any space, is supposed to be a creative block. So the book says as well, during your work week, you should also be able to block some time off to have some fun. So if you have any space left, then you can have some fun. Lucky you. What I actually did with Goal Getters this quarter is said to them, we're going to plan that in first. So your must-dos are your must-dos. They're never going to change. I mean, obviously they can change if you book new things and things like that, but you can't really move those things around very much. But we then planned in our creative time first, so that we had at least half an hour, I said, just half an hour where you did something for yourself that was nothing for your business, but it was in business time. So just find half an hour somewhere. So we actually did that pretty much first. And they've reported back to me that actually it's made a big difference planning it in rather than at the end, because I think as business owners, and especially when most of us are solo business owners, it's really hard to find that time to actually do something for ourselves, because we feel, you know, guilty or whatever if we're like, oh, I should be doing this or I should be doing that, and actually I'm just going to plan in to go for a swim or something. So yeah, so just planning in that. So just want you to take a look at your timetable and just notice like how much time do you actually have to work on any goals that you set yourself. Many people fail at goals because the goals are too big. They set themselves a goal of whatever it is, and actually they look at their diary, or they don't look at their diary, that's the point, and realize they only have 1, 2, maybe 3 hours a week to work on that goal or multiple goals, and wonder why they're not achieving them. And when I work with the goal getter members, they all still, most of them, do the same thing where they are planning for goals that are just too big, rather than just saying, okay, well, I've got 12 weeks. What am I going to achieve this quarter? And making the goal really, we're going to talk about making the goal smart in a minute, but making it really realistic and achievable. So we don't want to say, I'm going to design a whole new website in 12 weeks. It's probably not going to happen. But could you create a 3-page website in 12 weeks? Probably, So that's what we're going to do next. I just want you to really notice like how much time you actually have available. And just a bonus point for, because you're therapist in private practice, if you did your core work and you blocked off like the amount of clients you're actually seeing, with the other blocks, they should be used for marketing. So if you want to have, I'm just going to take a Thursday morning, and you want to see 3 clients, in that time, it should be used for marketing of some kind, whether that is updating your directory listings, networking, doing some kind of training, setting up like a booking system or something like that, until you have the amount of clients you want to have, using that time where you would see clients to get clients, even having inquiry calls and things like that. So just a little bonus tip for your core work block. Okay, we're just going to go back to vision just really briefly. And now that you know what time you have available, the purpose of this exercise is for you to focus on what is important, and that is also going to help you decide what your goals are going to be. So just want you to take 5 minutes ish, you might not have 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, and just think about, if you had achieved your goal, whatever that is, you have got to the point where you want to get to, looking at all of those things that make you successful and things like that, writing in the present tense, what would an ideal day look like for you? And we're going to take a work day, so not an ideal day where you're just like at the beach or whatever it is that people like to do on the day off. We want to look at a work day. How many clients are you seeing? What time do you wake up? How are you feeling? What are you eating for breakfast? Things like that. Some of these things may seem really pointless and like, why am I, like, we're working on our goals, why am I thinking about this? But we really want to connect with the future that you're working towards. It all ties into this whole vision thing. And then on those days when I said where you don't want to update your Psychology Today profile, or you don't want to do those inquiry calls because they're really awkward and you don't know what to do and say in them, you can connect back to this and think, no, the reason I'm doing this is for X, Y, and Z. You want to know what your priorities are. So I'm just going to stay quiet for 3 minutes and just let you write out that. So we're going to move on, but I would encourage you, you've got the workbook, so you can go over this and do this as many times as you want this year. So see how things change, especially with like the life wheel and things like that, can be really helpful. But we're going to move on to our goal setting now, which is why you all came here. So I want you to choose one area from your wheel and that you would like to focus on most this quarter. So whether that is, let me just see, like client acquisition, whether it's that you want to get more clients, whether it's your policies and procedures. So looking at your, oh no, that's under systems. Policy and procedures is more about your SOPs and things like that. But then your systems, maybe you want to create an EHR, you know, like build an EHR and create a booking system for your clients. Maybe you want to work on your paperwork. Maybe you want to look at your finances and get those in order. So just have a look at the wheel and pick one area that you would like to improve or focus on this quarter. So we've got just over, I think there's 8 weeks left, maybe 9 weeks left of the quarter. What could you focus on this quarter? And then I want you to brain dump all of the things that you could do to improve this. So if it was client acquisition, for example, it could be reaching out to other therapists in your area. It could be writing to GP surgeries. It could be updating your directory listings. It could be updating or creating a website. Doesn't matter how big or small it is at this point, just write down and brain dump all the things that you can think of to improve this area of your life or business or practice. And then once you have brain dumped all of your ideas, we're just going to pick one goal just for now. You might want more for your quarter, but just for this, I'm going to take you through an exercise of how to make it a SMART goal. So we're going to do that together with one of your goals, but you can obviously then repeat that for any other goals that you have. So you want to choose a goal that excites you, but also feels doable. Don't worry about the intricacies of that now. So it might just be, I want to update my website, or I want to create a website. That's fine. We're going to go into the actual specifics of that next. So just pick one thing you want to focus on for the next quarter, because that's another important thing to note. If you have a goal to do by the end of the year, I don't know about you, but I would not look at that goal for 11 months. And then in December, I'd be like, oh, I said I was going to do my website. And then I would try and pull something together in the last month or even the last week. Having a goal that's going to be for the whole year is too far away. It doesn't feel important enough for us. So we want to try and pick a goal and try and work on it in quarters. So it could be that it's going to take you a whole year to create your website, but actually, what can you do in the first quarter? You might be able to make a 2-page website or a 3-page website, and then in the next quarter, maybe you can add on some more pages, and then in quarter 3, you could write a blog. So we can build on this, but we want to have more of a fixed, tighter deadline. It's going to make us more inclined to do it. And next, we are going to make that goal SMART. So hopefully you have heard of SMART goals before, but this is really the most important part of setting the goal. If we do not make sure that it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, one, we're not going to know if we achieve it, because we don't know what it is that we're measuring. Creating a website, okay, is that a 1-page website, a 5-page website? What's going to be on the website? So we're not going to know if we've actually hit it. But also, it's really going to be hard to achieve it at all if it's not SMART. One of the things that I said to my goal getters, I don't know if it was last quarter or the quarter before, but is that you cannot create a goal that you can't control. So we often set ourselves up for failure and disappointment by aiming for things we can't directly control. So for example, you can't control whether someone books a session with you. You can't control whether someone follows you if you are building your social media, and you can't control whether someone buys something from you. So you can't control, if a client wants to work with you. But what you can control are your actions. So you can control how often you post. You can control how many people you reach out to when it comes to networking, or you can control how consistent you are at showing up in certain places, right? So we're going to focus on these SMART goals now. So we're going to do it in a higgledy-piggledy order, because I just find it's easier. So the time-bound thing is the easiest one we're going to do first. Whatever your goal is, the goal is to achieve that by the 31st of March. There's 31 days in March, right? Yeah. So the 31st of March, that is our deadline. We want to, whatever our goal is, it needs to be done by the 31st of March. So we can just write that in there. The next thing is the relevancy. So you have just spent an hour looking at your vision, looking at what matters to you, and you have picked your goal after you've done that. So we know that this goal is relevant, but why is it relevant to you? How does it tie back to your vision? Why do you want this? And that could be professionally, personally, mixture of both. Why is this important to you? Then we're going to jump and go to the beginning. We're going to go specific. So what specifically do you want to achieve? So is it to create your website? How many pages is your website going to be? What are those pages? A home page, an about page, a services page? If you want to grow your private practice, how many more clients do you actually want? Or how many session slots do you want to fill specifically? If anyone's got other goals, let me know. I can help you with the specifics of them. If you are looking at setting up an EHR, what do you want to have done by the end of it? Do you want to have chosen your EHR? Do you want to have it set up? Do you want to have done your trials? So what specifically do you want to do by the end of the quarter with regards to setting up an EHR? If you want to redo your paperwork, do you want to have it all sent out to clients by the end of the month? So it's written and, proofread and, sent out to clients. What else have we got on here? If it's visibility, do you want to start one social media account? Maybe an Instagram or Facebook or a LinkedIn profile. If you're looking to do your accreditation, like for your education, maybe you want to do your accreditation by the end of the quarter. I don't know if that's possible, but maybe it's just, that you're signed up to something and that you started working on it. Maybe that's a specific. And the next thing we're going to look at is how you're going to measure that. So what data will you use to decide whether you've met the goal? So for example, if you're looking to grow your private practice by 5 clients, maybe you have a master client list. I have a free template for that, which if you want one. And so you can say, okay, well, I've got 10 clients now and I want 15. And you can easily measure whether you have hit that number. If it is your website, knowing how many pages that you want is easy to measure whether you've been able to create that or not. So how are you going to decide whether you've met the goal? Sometimes specific and measurable can kind of cross over with regards to like numbers and things like that. So if you're finding this one a little bit harder, as long as you've been really specific, you'll be okay. And Kate's put a link to the master client list in the chat as well, if anybody wants that. It's just a free resource. And then the final part of SMART goals is whether it's achievable or not. Now, some of this is you looking at your time, knowing yourself, knowing like, can I actually create this website? Do I have the tech know-how? Will I have to factor in training and things like that in there to know whether it is actually achievable? And then we can look at, okay, maybe I need to break this down a little bit. Actually, maybe I'm not going to be able to get my website, a free page website up and running, but I will have chosen, which host I want, whether it's on Squarespace or Wix or WordPress or whatever. And maybe I will be able to write all of my copy in a Word doc or a Google doc, but I might not necessarily be able to actually have it ready on the website by the end of the 12 weeks. So this is where we can decide whether it needs to be broken down a little bit, which just FYI, it usually does. Usually the first goal we pick is probably too big for us, but after doing this for a couple of quarters, you'll start learning this yourself and knowing and understanding. Okay, awesome. You can carry on with that whilst I'm just talking. So I'm going to give you some bad news. And this, Kate will want me to know exactly where I've pulled this stat from, but it's on Google. You can all Google it so we can see. And it's going to be roughly about right. But 64% of people will quit working on their goals by the end of the first month that they've set them. And 23% of them will quit within the first 2 weeks. If people have set goals on New Year's Eve, by the end of February, 80% of people will have failed to keep their goals. So why is that? Well, first of all, lack of motivation. And we have taken care of that with everything we've done today, with the reflection and tying it to our vision. We have the motivation now because we know why we have set this goal. Lots of people set the goal of, and New Year's resolutions and things like that, of going to the gym or like being healthier and stuff, but they don't tie it to why. Like, why is that important to them? Why is it important to be healthy? To me, health is about being able to run around with my kids and go trampolining with them and not have to like act like some 85-year-old woman who can't walk because her back is constantly going, because I have sciatica a lot. So actually doing the pole dancing lessons and doing yoga in the morning is really important to me because it keeps me more flexible and being able to run around with my kids. Tying things to a bigger vision is going to give you more motivation. We also have unrealistic expectations of how much time we have. And again, we've gone through that in this workshop. We have taken care of like, where is my time going? What am I spending it on? And looking at what we have available so we can set the goal to be achievable, which is so important. So if we know, okay, I can't create a 5-page website by the end of March, okay, but I can do XYZ. And actually having that more realistic goal that you're constantly making progress on and not feeling like it's in the ether of like, I'm never going to hit this, is going to make you more like wanting to work on it, basically. Because if we feel like we're not making progress, that is the thing that's going to put us off. So people could also have a fear of failure or a success. So just like for myself, I'm launching a VA licensing program, and I have been putting off doing a webinar for it, which is part of the process, for about 4 months, if not more, probably more like 5 months, because I'm scared of it failing, basically. And I'm like, okay, well, if I put this webinar out and it's not good and people don't like it, like, what is next? Like, what am I going to do? Like, this is like the way I want to grow my business, and this is the next evolution of my business, and maybe it'll be a success, maybe it'll fail, and I'll be like, shit, I don't know what to do next. So people can really feel that fear of failure. And on the opposite side of success, right, some people, a lot of therapists I find as well, like with putting themselves out there, with publishing their fees, with being visible on directory listings and things like that, can be really vulnerable and actually can make you feel bad if your rates are much higher than other people and you feel like you're going to get criticism and things like that. You can also have a lack of support. So if people don't know that you're working on these goals and you're doing it in isolation, which many of you will be because you all are, I assume, solo private practice owners. And so no one knows what you're working on. No one's there like holding you accountable, giving you support in any kind of way. So that's to be negative. Now we're going to move on to positive stuff. Don't worry. So what we have done now, we've laid the groundwork, right? We know our vision, we know what time we have available, we know what goal, but we haven't got an action plan, right? So you've got your brainstorm of seeing like, these are all the things that I can do, but you don't actually have a step-by-step, this is what I'm going to do on this day and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to, at the end, in the last slide, going to give you a prompt that you can put into AI, so like ChatGPT or something like that. If you put it into ChatGPT, it's going to break it down for you exactly what steps you need to take and when, based on your own circumstances, so that you can make this action plan. And this is going to help you out so much, because what you want to do is you want to come to your planning session, your strategic block, whatever that is, and know exactly what you're doing. You don't want to come to it like, okay, I'm working on my website. What am I doing? And you don't know what step you take next. And sometimes with some of our goals, we might not know ourselves what steps we need to take. So utilizing AI is such an amazing tool, and it's really going to help you out. Know, okay, these are the steps I need to take. This is the order I should do it in, and things like that. So Kate's going to paste in a minute the prompt into that, so you can copy and paste it. And I will also send it out with the replay as well. So you want to know what actions you want to take and when. Another thing is you really want to have somebody hold you accountable. When we work alone, it's really easy to not do stuff, right? No one's asking for it. There's no person saying, hello, you said you were going to do this, like, where is it? And running your own business is great for that, because we have autonomy. We don't have to answer to anyone. I love having my own business for that. But I tell you what, hiring Kate was the best thing I ever did for my business, because she holds me accountable in terms of like my YouTube videos, I have to get it to her for a certain time or it's not going to go up. And she's on at me like, where's this YouTube video? And she's also bigging me up and saying this video is great, like I really enjoyed this, and you know, things like that. So having someone to hold you accountable for, you know, the actual, I was going to say bullying, but it's not bullying, it's like, come on, I need this. But also on the flip side of like, yeah, you're doing great, you know, like it really does help. So you want to get that encouragement when you have self-doubt or when you have lack of motivation. You want someone to know why you're working towards these things. Kate knows exactly why I'm growing this business. And she reminds me of that. She's like, listen, you want to be able to homeschool your son. You want Dexter to be at home with you. Like, you're going to have to make this business work. So on that, obviously, I'm sure you all know now, when people offer free workshops, there's usually a catch. And the catch for me is to talk to you about Goal Getters, which I would love to invite you to join the membership. And I wanted to just tell you about why this membership is different and how it's going to help you. So if you just stay with me for, you've only got 8 more minutes. If you just stay with me for 8 minutes, I would really appreciate it. One thing that the membership offers is the supportive community. We are really small. There are 22 members in the membership. And so we really get to know each other. The people that come to all the calls, they come to all the calls. I know exactly who's publishing a book this year. I know who's working on their website. I know who's trying to grow their practice. I know who's, you know, where they're based and all that kind of stuff. So we really do get to know each other, and we celebrate each other's wins and support each other, you know, when things get tough. And we have workshops like this every single month and every single quarter. So we do big workshops every quarter to work on our goals, but we also have workshops during the month as well to continue that like close-knit community. You also get an accountability partner. So you can either choose someone yourself or I can choose someone for you. And you'll partner with someone, you connect with them weekly to discuss your progress, get support and give support as well. And this is something that the members absolutely love. Like, you know, I do feedback forms and I say like, why did you join the membership? And they're always the same answers. Like, I wanted to achieve goals. I wanted to do stuff. And then and then I say to them, but what's the best part of it? And all of them rank really highly the accountability partner. And I found that for me, like, Kate is my now official accountability partner. And she has been like the biggest difference to my business and getting things done. So it really does make a difference. And we also have co-working rooms. We found that body doubling really works well. So on a Monday morning between the hours of 9 and 12, you can come to a co-working room and basically get shit done. Some people just come and do their admin. So they're not really working on their needle moving work, but they get all their boring admin stuff out the way that they don't really want to do. And so they hold themselves accountable by coming to the co-working, and we work on things. So some people do their client onboarding, or they do not their bookkeeping, because we have a bookkeeping specific co-working room for that on a different day. But you know, they do their admin stuff, and some people do come and work on their needle moving work and get support from me. I'm in the room practically every single Monday morning, and for a lot of neurodivergent people, this is the easiest way to get going and work on stuff if they know that they've got that little external structure, instead of relying on like complete internal motivation of just, it's on my diary, so I'm going to do it. If they know that there's a place that they can turn up, and that works for everyone, not just neurodivergent people, but I know especially for neurodivergent people, it's really helpful. So when it comes to my support, I host a monthly workshop. So in month 1, I host a momentum coaching session. So this is where you can get like support on things that you're getting stuck on. So you've set your goals, you've started working on them, and maybe you have come up on a bit of a bumper. So there's some action steps that you're struggling with, and we talk about those and why. And I had my first call this month. So I think it was last week I hosted it, and it was amazing. It was so good. And the people that came to the call found it really helpful. So basically what I want you to come away feeling is lighter and knowing what your next step is going to be, and kind of having that reset of being able to, you know, carry on. In month 2, we do a mid-quarter reflection and reset. So although we plan in 12-week blocks, what I say to everybody is we're going to plan 6 weeks. So we're going to plan what your action steps are for 6 weeks, because 12 weeks is a really long time and a lot can happen. So we plan 6 weeks, and then we get together after those 6 weeks and we plan the next 6 weeks, and we can like reevaluate our goal. Maybe we set the goal that was too big, or maybe we were really conservative and we'd already hit the goal, so we're going to kind of replan another goal. usually we make them smaller, but but we, you know, we look at what's been going on for us. Again, we do a lot of reflection, a lot of talking in the groups, and then we reset and plan for the rest of the quarter. And then in month 3 we have a clarity clinic, and this is about helping you get clear on what your next goal should be for the next quarter. So if you're wrestling between a couple of ideas, or you want my help making it smart, things like that, so we can kind of talk about that. And we also have private practice specific support. So this is why this membership is, you know, really directed at therapists in private practice, because we have Tamara Howell, and she hosts a monthly workshop as well, where she talks something specific about private practice. And it really does, we don't plan the workshops in advance, so we really do look at what everybody's goals are, and then we adapt it. So it might be looking at fee raising, or it might be looking at holiday planning. So we look at like the time of year, but also what people are working on. It might be, she is also amazing at what's that word where you like review, that's it. So like reviewing people's copy, she's really good at that. So whether it comes to website copy or directory listings and things like that, so she does stuff like that. So if you are interested in looking at joining us in Goal Getters, the doors are open today for just over a week, and we'd love you to come and join us. We have a really fun onboarding runway as well for the next few weeks, where we'll really get you to understand the community and Heartbeat, which is where the membership lives, and do some ground kind of foundational work on your inbox management. We do some time management stuff and things like that to get you ready to set and achieve goals for the rest of the year. So as promised, this is the AI prompt. Kate will put that in the chat if she hasn't already. And I also have a video specifically on this, which I actually put this prompt in, and I'll show you how it all works, and then we have a conversation with ChatGPT, so it can go even more in depth and things like that. So if you want that video as well, Kate will put the link in the chat for that too. Okay, that's a lot of talking. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Really appreciate you sticking around. I really hope you found that useful. If anybody has any questions, please do let me know. Any feedback, I would also appreciate. I hope if you want to tell me your goal, so like if you want to hold yourself accountable, but tell me your goal, I would love to hear that, what you're working on. I can also stop recording, then it can just be between us. But thank you very much for being here, and yeah, I really appreciate you spending time with me.